Good morning, students. Welcome to SJECE classes. I am Rajendra. Today, I will teach you Biology chapter 2nd, that is reproduction in plants. Before starting the next topics, I would like to tell you something about the last topics, that was artificial vegetative propagation. That in artificial vegetative propagation we have discussed about stem cutting, layering, and the next which have left, that is grafting. So let us start with the chapter or the topics grafting. Okay, grafting, it is a artificial vegetative propagation. As I told you, what happens actually in this, there are two plants. One plant which is attached to the soil, that is called a stalk, and the another plant which we will have to just adjust in the stalk, that is known as cycle. Okay, after that what we have to do, just adjust the cycle and the stalk as that they can uh, adjust very minute gaps between them and tie up with the ribbon or maybe rope and leave it to the for a third fourth week. What happens actually after that, the nutrients which is supplied to the soil, it is sent to the cycle also, and after some time their tissue just get together, or you can say that they join together to form a new plant, or the stalk supplies the essential nutrients to the cycle. And in this way we can just get in new plants, and this method is used to develop new varieties of ornaments plants and fruits like rose, guava, mango, lemon, orange, etc., with desirable characters. Grafting is a technique of combining the characteristics of two plants. Okay, if you have seen somewhere that this is a high yielding plants, okay, high variety may be grafted to a disease resistant variety to have characteristics of both plants as well as the disease resistance and as well as the high yielding capacity. Okay, many new varieties of mangoes are developed by this method, so you can also adopt this method. After that, there is a tissue culture methods, or you can say that the micro propagation. Micro propagation. Actually, this technique is adopted where there is no seed in the plants, or you can also say that the desirable characters which we want and in the mass of plants we need at a time or a short period of time, that way you will have to adopt the tissue culture. What happens actually in the tissue culture, actually a small piece of tissue called explant, what we call it, explant, cut from the growing tip of a plant. Growing tip, that means you can just cut whatever it is in roots or whatever it is in shoots part. It is kept in a nutrient medium under the aseptic condition. There is a condition septic or aseptic. Aseptic, that means there will be no way of microorganism is there. You will have to keep it in a very hygienic medium. This condition is known as aseptic. Yes, After that, its cells divide rapidly to form a callus or a mass-like structure called callus. This callus is transferred another nutrients medium containing the hormones, or you can say that the growth regulatory hormones. What does do that the second nutrient medium is? They are responsible for the growing or the differentiation of roots, shoots and stem in the plantlets. Whatever it is just coming for coming days. It will come after some days. Okay. These plantlets are grown in pots filled with the soil or asparagus, chrysanthemum, orchids is grown by this tissue culture. Many ornaments plants, or you can say that this technique is used in the horticulture, even in the agriculture also. Many bananas trees are grown by this method. The plants which have no seeds, they are just grown by this method. Vines are grown by these methods. Okay, grapes are grown by these methods. That means the plants which have no seed, they can just grow normally by this method, or they have already seed, and if you want to grow very in a short period of time, you can just adopt these methods or the tissue culture. Okay, yes, you can see the figure. First we make the callus. Okay, and after that this callus transferred into the another medium which have the containing hormones, plant regulating hormones are there, and they just differentiate the plants roots, shoots and the leaves. And after that this plantlets you can just sow in anywhere in the soil, and you will just get after very soon period of time. Okay, now we just come to the sexual reproduction in plants. It is very important, as we have studied what I did tell you. Just there were three methods are there in the reproduction in plants. First was asexual. What did I tell you? And second is vegetative propagation, and the third is sexual reproduction. Now we come to the third part, sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, sexual reproduction takes place by the formation of gametes. I have told you it required two gametes, and it will come from another two parents, as well as the male and female part. It is also applicable in the plant also. Plant, that means it have also the male part and the female part. In the class 6 you have studied the flower is the reproductive part of the plant. It forms seeds and gives rise to new plants. A complete flower has the following four whorls, that is calyx. A group of sepals is known as calyx. Corolla. A group of petals is known as corolla. Or androecium. It is the male reproductive part of the flower. It consists of stamens, and each stamens consists of, that is, the anther, a long cylindrical filament. Pollen grains are formed inside the anther. They contain the male gametes. Yes, I will tell you later on. Just I am introducing your the part of the flower, or you can say that the essential parts of the flower or non-essential parts of the flower. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower. It is also called pistil. It consists of stigma, style and ovary, and the ovary contains ovules. The female gametes or egg is formed in the ovule. This is what I have just told you. These are the essential or non-essential parts of the flower. Just have a look in the structure. Yes, very good. You can say that a typical flower structure of the flower. The first part what I have told you, that is sepals. A group of sepals is known as calyx. I told you about the calyx. Second, the corolla or the petals. Here, above the ovule, there is a name petal, and petal is a single name. And just when we say that a group of petals is known as corolla. Single we call it as a petal, but when we call it as a corolla, that means we are saying a group of petals. We will just we should understand when we are saying corolla, that means the person are saying a group of petals. They are talking about the group of petals. When any person saying just the calyx, we will have to understand itself that they are talking about the sepals, a group of sepals. Another thing, the male part or the third whorl, first whorl is sepals. A group of sepals is known as corolla. Greenish part, it just, you can say that it defend the bud also. What? Sepals or a group of sepals is known as calyx, or you can say that also calyx. Calyx, the work of calyx, you can say that it defend the floral part or the bud. After that, the number is petals. After petals, the stamens are there. Stamens, you can say that in stamens there are, yes, you can see that anther. The lobes structure are called bilobes structure are called anther, and the long cylindrical structure that is known as filament. Both together make it stamen, and it is male part. And in the anther, there are spores are there, or you can say that anther, we call it as a anther, and in anther the male gametes are there. Okay, now come to the female part. Yes, the most innermost part is known as pistil or the gynoecium. The first part of the pistil or the gynoecium is known as stigma. You can say that the upper part or the broad upper part of the flower is female part of the flower is known as stigma. Another, the cylindrical part is known as style, and the oval part, okay, is known as ovary. These three parts make the pistil or the gynoecium. Thalamus, where the basal part of the flower is known as thalamus, and there is a pedicel when just we hold the flowers, that is known as pedicel. Okay, this is the structure of typical flower. I suppose you understand whatever I have told you. Now we come to the next topic, and that is mechanism of sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction mechanism is very simple. Sexual reproduction in plants involves pollination, fertilization, formation of seeds and fruits, and dispersal of seeds and fruits, and again the seed germination, and again the formation of new plants, and get it pollination, fertilization, and this process will just keep on going in this universe. Okay, so let us start the first process, that is known as pollination. Pollination, just you can see that the transfer of pollen grains from the anther, yes, the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of pistil is known as pollination. What did I say? The transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the gynoecium or pistil is known as pollination. Simple. This is the first step in the process of seed formation. Why we call it the first stage? Because because without pollination there is no way of fertilization. So it is called as the first step. Okay. Now types of pollination is of two types: self pollination and cross pollination. Self pollination, as I am just telling you, what is how we can just define the self and cross pollination. When the self pollination takes place within the flower or the same flower or between the two flowers on the same plant, that is known as self pollination. Suppose, just I am telling you, giving a example. Yes, just look, have a look this figure. Yes, suppose first A is a first flower, and it is the first flower of the stigma of the anther. It is transferred the anther of the stigma of the first flower, and it is just transferred to the second flower of the same plant. That is known as self pollination. But when the transfer of pollen grains from first a flower to the stigma of the another flower, okay, of the same species, it is to be understood, that is known as cross pollination. Yes, you can say that. First of all, what did I say? First, this have two gametes are there, male and female, both in a single flower. When the transfer of anther of a flower is to the stigma of the same flower, that is known as self pollination. And when it is transfer of pollen grains from one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same species, that is known as cross pollination. These two things are there, self pollination and cross pollination. Okay, we will have to understand what is self pollination and cross pollination. After that, self pollination and cross pollination, there is very important topics are there, that is known as difference between self pollination and cross pollination. It is often asked in the examination, what is self pollination and cross pollination. So let us take one by one. The differences are also very important as the aspect of examination. So let's, I am just telling you one by one. In self pollination, what happens? Pollen grains of a flower fall on the stigma of the same flower or other flower on the same plant. This is self pollination. And when we are talking about the cross pollination, the pollen grains from one flower are transferred to the stigma of other flower on a different plant of the same type, or you can say that the same species. That is known as cross pollination. Pollinating agents are not needed when we are talking about the self pollination, but when we are talking about the cross pollination, agents are needed. Okay, when we are talking about the self pollination, both anther and stigma mature at the same time. It is required, but when we are talking about the cross pollination, the anther and stigma of a flower mature at different times. Offsprings are identical to their parents because we are not just passing the pollen grains from one flower to another flower, but in the same plant pollination are going on. That means there will be no any change and genetically change. Okay, so we can say that they are identical. Offsprings have mixed features. Why we? Because it is here the pollination are cross pollination. They change their plants. Okay, but they not change their species of the plant, they only change the plants. And by the changing of the plant, some characteristics will be different. So, offspring have mixed features of male and female parents. In self pollination, the last point and very efficient, self pollination does not produce new varieties of plants, but in the cross pollination or the cross pollination introduces variation in the offspring and hence new varieties will be formed. Okay, this is the differences between self pollination and cross pollination. We will talk later on in the next video about the agents of pollination. Okay, after that, I have told you about this also, the types of pollinations, self pollination, cross pollination already. After that, we will talk agents of pollination in the next class. Thanks for watching video. Have a nice day and subscribe the SJECE channel. Good day. Thank you.